Today, I'm going to work on something that I've redesigned several times on paper and didn't actually figure out completely until while I was building it. That is the dispenser for the pinballs. Each side will start with 5 pinballs, maybe more, who knows. Each player will decide when to dispense and launch their pinballs. It's all part of the game. So today, I'm going to build the dispenser mechanism. It operates quite simply, but under the hood, it's a bit complicated. So let's get into it. First thing I had to do was scope out the space and figure out where and how to implement this feature. I used the pinballs as a size reference to mark the front and back gates. When the front gate is lifted to release a pinball, the back gate rises to keep the rest from going as well. The gates will be attached with 1/4-inch dowels. There needs to be plenty of clearance so they don't get pinched, so I marked and drilled holes that were a few sizes bigger. I started with a small bit to get all the holes going in the same direction, then a medium to remove some more material, and finally the large bit to get the clearance I was going for. I tested the fit with the dowels and it was looking pretty good. In order to connect the gates to the dowels, I cleared out a bit more material with a multi-tool and a fine chisel. The back gate will be recessed in the ground, so I cleared out material from one side to the other. All these inserts will have wood moving back and forth, so I used sandpaper to smooth it out and minimize the friction. All the dowels will be attached to the same platform underneath, so they all rise up at the same time. I cut out the platform and then added some blocks to guide it. The guide blocks were set with some clearance, so they didn't pinch the platform as it goes up and down. It's important to get the dowels marked in the exact right spot. I put an 1/8-inch spacer to keep it clear of the blocks, then marked the center of the holes from the top side. I drilled holes in the platform with a 1/4-inch bit, stuck some dowels in, and tested the fit. The dowels were really snug without any glue. I marked and trimmed the dowels down to size, then marked the limits of the gates. The gates are simply an 1/8-inch piece of model plywood that spans from one dowel to the other. When the platform is lifted, the back gate rises and blocks the pinballs in the rest of the line from rolling. The top gate sits at a spot, so when it's down, it holds the pinballs in place. And when it rises, the first pinball is released. Based on my design, the platform only has to move up and down about 3/4 of an inch. I put a stopper on the underside of the guide to limit how much the platform could drop. These measurements were planned and calculated ahead of time. The glue is fairly cured, so time for a test. I was mostly concerned that the platform would pinch and not drop on its own, but it was working really well. I had been considering putting the activator for the dispenser on the side of the machine, but then decided to put it on top of the table. It'll be a lot easier to reach for any player, and a lot less likely to hit it by accident. I punched a small hole to verify the location on both sides, then punched a large hole for the 3/4 inch dowel to fit. I added a few more layers with the same hole diameter to better guide the dowel. This mechanism will work like a teeter-totter, so when you push down on the dowel, it'll push up on the platform. I cut the teeter-totter out of a piece of 1/2 inch plywood. I found the center of the plywood and added a few blocks for the pivot point. Next, I did everything needed to create the support structure for the teeter-totter. It was working really well, so I added a piece that will press into the platform to lift it up. I used a long 1/4 inch bolt to support the rotation. I used a nice piece of birch wood as the button for the dispenser. And that's pretty much it. The mechanism is working really well. It seems to have enough weight to reset itself on its own, though I may add some sort of rubber band tension later on if it's giving any problems. Since this is a 2-player pinball machine, everything I did for this side, I duplicated identically on the other. Both sides work great. Every step gets this machine closer to completion. Okay, that's it for now. See ya.